All right, cool. Do it.
All right, go ahead,
The
chat.
topic is one arm Bankai Yamamoto from Thousand Year Blood War versus Bankai Ichibe. I have Yamamoto, Deadboy has Ichibe. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I'll just start off.
Okay.
So, to lay the groundwork in my argument's pretty simple. I think there's just more information to suffice that multiple times throughout the series, through various feats and statements and through narrative implications, Ichibe is just portrayed as a stronger combatant and a stronger fighter than the two, and specifically to the Yamamoto that you're referring to. So I can go ahead and get into all the things that you want me to prove. Is there an
Send the
issue that you
narrative
have with
to
anything?
please.
Actually, so let's start off with the first and foremost thing before I go over anything. Yamamoto, you listening to me?
Yes,
Yamamoto, when he was in his prime, fought base Yuha. Are you aware of that?
I don't know if Yuha was in base.
Yeah, he didn't have the Almighty. Are you aware that Ichibe sealed it?
I mean, yeah. Was that Prime
Okay.
Yama?
Yeah, that would be, because that would be Yamamoto with 2 arms, and that would be in his younger state. So unless you're going to try to make some nonsensical argument that somehow this one arm Yamamoto is way greater than his young prime version, where he was his most notorious, then I don't think we have to go there. But yeah, that's Yamamoto in his prime.
I think
That
we do have
version.
to go there.
Okay. So could you give me, so since we're going there, could you give me any supporting evidence that the one arm old man version of Yamamoto would even be comparable to his prime younger self? Could you give me any evidence from the service, like the verse that dictates that?
Okay, well, we do know that just because he loses an arm, he can still make up for that by training. We do know state that Yama has trained. Okay. And what do you call it? He's also in his Bankai state. So if Yama was in base against Yuha, then that would just be another amp on top of that. Like a 5 to 10 times amp.
So let me just respond to that. You just saying that he training does not necessarily, denounce my argument. Like a fighter can be out of his prime and still train. So I don't understand. There's one thing that you did was there was an assumption that you added. The assumption was that the training he did where he didn't have arm would have made up for the gap of him not being in a prime, which the main thing that you have to respond to is that Yamamoto isn't in his prime due to various amount of factors. I'm counting of age, and I'm counting the factors of him not having 2 hands, because we know in Bleach there's a lot of styles like the Jukendo or the other style that they do, the Kendo style, which requires 2 hands, which Yamamoto tried to teach Kapachi. So if we know there's fundamental fighting styles that requires 2 arms and he's not using it, and we know he's getting older, I'm not sure if you know, but people when they get older to that little age, their skin becomes more brittle, they're starting to slow down, and they're not at their athletic peak. So that's just the main basis of the argument. I'm not going to disagree that Yamamoto's been training, but he cannot, get to the same as he was in his prime. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Okay, man. So you grant the Yama trained. Now, what I want to say is that it's not my burden to actually prove that Yama's training outweighed whatever nerf he got from losing his arm. Right? You're the one who's claiming Yama was in his prime because of this thing. He had 2 arms in his younger days, and he was also just younger. What I'm saying is that there's this other factor that's happened since he's been in his younger days, which is that he's been training. So if you can't account for this variable of him training, whether or not that outweighs like the nerf he might have gotten, then the argument just wouldn't go through. And to just the second thing you said about like Kendo and like your younger days and stuff like that, I agree Kendo makes you stronger. Stated with Kenpachi, all that stuff. What I'm just gonna say is that again, like I'm just gonna go back to the training thing. The training might have even outweighed that amp. And also I can get into why it outweighed it when I get to my scale. I'll show Yama above Ichibe and then Ichibe above that weaker Yama. But like also you're saying that Yama isn't. Wait, I want you to prove that Yama, because of age, because of like growing older, that he got weaker.
Yeah, I got you. So I'll just send I'll send what U-Haul says where it directly like says that. But before I even get into that, as I'm looking for those scans right now, you keep trying to go back into this point that Yamamoto's training, but you're forgetting the basis, the why does training, right, have any relevance in this conversation. I am not agreeing. I agree that fighters that are out their prime can train when they're far beyond their prime, but he's beyond his physical prime. That's what I'm trying to tell you. His physical prime was when he was younger. And although if I even were to concede the position that him having two arms wouldn't make him stronger, it obviously we know based on the other things as I brought up, he wouldn't be able to use certain techniques as efficient as he would with two arms because these certain techniques requires those things. So he was probably training to fight under this limited capacity, but that doesn't take away the fact that regardless of not, he's still limited because we know these certain techniques do require these two hands. And again, it's just nonsensible or unfathomable to try to make a certain argument that a person who's near the end of their life, who was brittle and old, would be even comparable or the same strength to as he was when he was at his peak health. He at his peak, he would probably have no backing or knee issues, whatever the fuck old niggas have to go through. And before I respond to that, let me just go get the statements where I think U-Haul like directly says that
Yes, King.
I'm gonna go get those statements. Hold on.
You're gay, Flames.
Deadboy is old. I was like
Right
30.
here. Let me go find statement. Does anyone have the statement where Ichibe, I mean y'all you talking about your pride, this, that, and the third is why you haven't did that?
I have it.
Yeah, you can send go ahead and send that scan.
Okay, man.
Got you.
Boy.
Wait, quick question. Is this 45
Wait.
minutes?
Yeah, maybe. We'll think about it later.
I don't think we should count the scan finding into the time limit.
Yeah, we should. We all. I don't think we oughta. Okay. I'm probably on the chapter. Nope, I'm not. But I am now.
Yeah, we don't need the commentary. Just send the scan.
Never mind, I'm not.
Yeah, we
Okay.
don't need the commentary, man. Just send the scan.
I'm on it now.
Mm-hmm.
So can you get to it, or
I found the scan. Probably.
thanks?
No, I didn't. It's his
And
scam,
also-
but why am I finding?
And adding on top of that, I just think having one arm as like a consistency in Bleach, we just see that like it nerfs people. So I just think the same argument is consistent throughout. Because even when Grimjow had his arm cut off, he was drastically weaker.
No, wait. I don't mean to cut you off, but I agree that one arm makes you weaker.
I'm not done, bro.
I agree.
Wait. I'm not done. You don't even know what you're agreeing to. So I didn't cut you. We're having a casual debate. You don't get to start.
My bad, man. My bad.
We know that it's consistency on top of the fact of him not having an arm. That this thing is a constant within Bleach. When people lose a limb like that, they're drastically weaker. And it's even such a power increase that when Grimjaw gets his arm back, he makes a statement, "It's back. My power is back." So not only is it fighting capacity, it's also power and AP that it gives you. But it's way furthermore evidence that suffices the claim that I'm showing that that Yamamoto that fights with one arm is not comparable to the Yamamoto that's fighting earlier against Yuha.
Okay, that's cool and all. I never disagree with one arm weakening him. I think it kind of mistracked me. But I sent your scan and nowhere does it mention age. So now, since I sent your scan, I just want to address what you said. You said I could address it after I sent the scan.
I got you.
So look, you said that it's consistent. Like people have these physical primes and stuff in Bleach. I don't think you can show that as the same for Soul Reapers. Maybe you can show it's the same for like humans and stuff. But Soul Reapers have completely different compositions. Like they're made of reishi particles. They're not made of the stuff that humans are, right? They can live longer, all that stuff. And Yama not being able to use certain techniques, I don't think you can even show that. You can say that Yama. I don't think you can even prove that. Yeah, you can't prove that Yama cannot use certain techniques that he couldn't in the past. Okay.
I can.
Can I finish? Wait. You can do that when I'm done, okay? The other thing is, you can't even prove that when Yama was training that he was fighting, like just training to fight within his limits. Okay, and Yama,
What?
you can't prove, Okay, cool. You can't even prove that he's nearing the end of his life, that he's brittle, like any of this stuff. You can't even prove that he has knee issues, any of that. So I don't really
Are you
care.
done?
Yeah, I'm done, man.
Okay. So, what do you think Reishi is?
Reishi, just like spirit,
Yeah, what do you think Reishi is, though? Spirit what?
just like Reishi particle, like spirit particles.
Spirit particles?
Yes, spirit energy,
Okay.
whatever.
You don't think they have muscles or arms? Because we see, like, characters in Bleach are obviously more
Yeah,
defined
obviously.
than other characters. I'm not, obviously, they're not the same, thing as a human, but we do know that we see, like, other, Soul Reapers that are more physically advantageous. That would imply some type of way to strengthen certain muscles. So that same logic can be applied that the same way these muscles can just be strengthened. It would be, nonsensical to could just say that they could just strengthen them to any variable degree, that these degrees wouldn't go down. That's what I'm trying to say. So,
Yeah, well,
and we see it. We see a very visible, like, demeanor and face change within Yamamoto. It's actually showing the same, may though it be slower, same aging process as a human. They just live longer, but it's the same aging process. Like, I'll even a picture of, like, comparative how Yamamoto
I know, I
looks.
know, I know, I know
Hold
the
on.
Instagram.
Wait a minute. I'm not done. I'll send a picture to how Yamamoto looks when he's younger and to how he looks when he's older
No, I
now.
know. When he's younger,
And you
he
can
had black
tell,
hair.
hold on. You could just tell, like, a visual difference. So what we have here, we also have just logical reasoning, which is just reasoning when people are that older, they're not their level of physical prime. Two, the other thing that I have, that there is a way to expand your muscles and, get stronger. So the same logic would apply. I think the same, levels of Newton's force would still be applied here. I think this verse follows that. And the third thing, we see visual indicators of showing that he's more muscle tone, isn't as, damaged or wrinkled up as his older part is. So we see these obviously same traits that contribute to someone getting weaker when they're older. So I just don't see, like, how your argument, even sounds convincing, because you're just falling back on, oh, you can't prove this, you can't prove that. Well, I'm easily right now just giving more of a likelihood. And to address the arguments for the thing, that just doesn't address my argument. You said that doesn't mean that he can. Obviously, if I gave the indication that these certain techniques are required with two hands, so could you, break it down to me that these certain techniques that are required to use two hands, as would see first, why this variable changes all of a sudden that he has one hand? Like, could you give me, like, the parameters, or even show me an instance that he uses these certain techniques with just one hand? I thought the requirement was with two, so how was he able to use Jakendo with just one? Like, can you show me an instance where this does it? Because I don't think that's what it says. It's actually indicated how it's supposed to be used. I think you're just being very uncharitable, very charitable to yourself, and trying to appropriate and have a higher substance to stand on when you do not have nothing to stand on right now. So I think it's
Yeah,
just pretty evident, um, that I think I'm pretty easily winning this point right now. So I think it's pretty evident. Like, I just, like, with reasoning, why, again, my argument's just more to suffice.
amen.
So
So
I
I do
think
have
if
stuff to stand on. Yeah, continue.
and I was gonna just talk about I was just gonna talk about this scan. You
Which
had
scan?
only gave an order, the scan that you sent. I know
Okay,
well
we
how
can
the
get into that.
height
We can
how
get
the
into that
height of your
after this.
battle Eisen, you were hesitant to become the human,
That's like 5
and
points,
still
bro.
today bearing the weight of not only soul society but also the human world also lifted upon your shoulders.
That's
You
5
stood
points,
before me,
bro. That's 5
and you were
points.
defeated. You have became weak. The old you would have not acted this way. So we also
That's
see
5
there's
points.
a mental difference where I think a mental indication helps the character out a lot in the fight, where it tells them, like, should I attack here, should I blitz in here? So there's just a lot of, factors that's detailing that this Yamamoto is just not the same Yamamoto that fought Yuhao thousands of years ago. You have nothing supporting the case.
Okay, that's 5 points. So I'm gonna just like address everything first that you said, like before the scan, before you even talked about the scan, right? You can't prove that like Yama really ages slower. Like that's kind of what's in question right now. I mean, you
Huh?
can't prove that Yama. My bad. You can't prove that Yama ages as fat or like normally compared to a human. That's what's in question right
I
now.
never said that he did.
Yes,
That's
you
not the
did.
question.
You said the Shinigami aging process is the same as a human aging process. If I didn't
I
say
didn't.
that, if I didn't,
I didn't say.
if you didn't,
Wait.
wait.
Check the
If you didn't
argument.
say that, then you could just forget about it. If you didn't say, we can just forget about it then. But I'll just continue.
I'm about to
You know,
say, yeah.
I agree that they have muscles. You know, they can get stronger. I'm not saying that they can I'm not saying that they can just like completely get stronger without ever getting weaker. I think that if they don't train for a while, stuff like that, you know, they might they'll get weaker and stuff like that. But I don't think anything suggests or anything you've shown suggests that just because they're getting older, even if they train, that they'll get weaker. Okay, and I don't even see why it's nonsensical to say this thing. But I can grant that, for example, like for techniques like kendo, you need 2 arms for it. But like, then again, I just brought up how the training might be able to outweigh that.
Off of what basis, though? You're saying a might. That might is not supported by any consistency or backing evidence. You said it just might, but I'm telling you that these certain techniques cannot, these certain techniques cannot be performed without 2 hands. So you're saying, oh, it might have did this gap. What is the justification to support the fact that it might have? Because you saying it might have does not actually support or win an argument. I'm telling you or giving you arguments based off of credibility. And the argument was not that they aged the same. I obviously didn't say that. I said it's similar in the sense where people can expand when they're generally younger. They can expand, become more dense within muscle mass, but over time, this muscle mass lessens. So I'd say that it's pretty similar in nature how people can get stronger muscles, and over time as it getting weaker you can obviously start to get more brittle, as as you already explained, and as I kept saying multiple times, we have this visual indicator. So they don't have to be 1-to-1, but these similarities of them just aging, even though they think they age slower, the fact of the matter is when you threshold that you're still going to get weaker. That's all I'm trying to. And again, that my argument, I'm just going to go back to it. What justification and what basis do you have to support it?
All right, can I go now?
Yeah, can you just answer that question for me? What justification and basis do you have to support the mic?
Yeah.
What makes your
I
mic
don't think
credible?
I don't think I need the basis, like anything to
You
suggest he actually did outweigh. I already explained this at the beginning of the
huh?
debate. Like I'll just address everything else that you said. You know, these techniques, just because they can't be done, like for example, I agree that kendo can't be done without 2 arms. I agree that current Yama with 1 arm cannot perform kendo, right? But
Angel Kendo.
kendo is just a strength amplifier. The training that he's done, might be able to make up for that strength increase, or like the
Why?
strength nerve. My bad. I don't have to explain why. I already told you, and you can't prove that. By
Yeah,
the way,
but
can't
yes, you
prove
do though, because you're
that a
bringing an
slowly
alter.
wait.
You're bringing hold
I
on.
want you to
You're
show that a
bringing
slowly
wait a minute.
consistently training. Wait. I want you to
Wait,
show that
hold on. I'll explain why you have to
consistently
explain
training
that,
gets
because
weaker
hold
with
on,
age.
I'll explain why you have to explain that. I give an interpretation with backing evidence behind that. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why you have to explain. You're just giving an alternative possibility, but you're not telling me why that can or why is that more likely. We're debating to see which one of our stances is more likely. So you keep saying, "Oh, this training he could have done." Well, I'm going to ask you, what is the specific training they could have done outside of the training that we know? We know of Jaquito, we know of Kendo. What other alternative training method did he use that's not explained in Bleach? And now you're gonna have to do some type of headcanon and just assume that there's some type of specific martial art or training style that he can even do, the backing evidence in the series. So I would agree with your interpretation if it actually had basis behind it. You cannot just make baseless interpretations, things that don't have to be defeated against things that I'm giving reasonings for. I'm giving a reasoning behind everything I'm saying. My whole point is these are not the same characters due to these fundamental things. I said due to the visual changes, we see visual looks weaker, and we know he cannot perform these certain techniques that require 2 hands. So
Okay.
these are 3 main facts that you've not done nothing to disagree with these main facts, but you tried to go back into, oh, he might have just trained and shit like that, but this might have does not outweigh the facts that you and me have like already agreed upon. That's what I'm trying to say. This is facts we're talking about. So what evidence do you have to support that your interpretation is stronger than mine? If you do not have evidence to even support remotely or what training this nigga could do to even suffice that it's a gap that's able to close this gap, then I don't think we have an argument here. Genuinely.
Okay. Time for me to speak, guys. So Poochie, you're a fucking retard. We can debate after this. Like you're just really lost. You just joined and you just heard Deadboy speak. That's it. Okay. Now listen. You gave your interpretation. Okay. You tried giving credibility. You tried giving scans and stuff like that. But I already questioned all the scans. I'm beating the shit out of all the scans. Okay. Now I I agree that he can fight because like we can see against what's the name against Roy Lloyd, he's able to fight with one arm. He's able to use what do you call it? He's able to use his Bankai with one arm. He's able to release his Shikai with one arm. So he's able
Yeah.
to fight at least somewhat consistently with one arm. Okay, and you
Wow.
have never shown that visually he looks weaker. You've shown that visually he gains wrinkles and stuff like that. Like he goes bald and stuff. His beard gets longer, but you never explain why for Shinigami this means that they get weaker.
Yeah, so I've already
And
gave
also, wait. Before we continue, I'm explaining why it's not my burden. Okay, again for the last time, you made the claim that this guy Yamamoto, he was in his prime, like back in the day, right? And then you agreed that this guy trained. Okay, and then if you're still gonna say that Yamamoto was in his prime back in the day, then there would be this
Yeah.
embedded assumption, which that the training he did not outweigh, what do you call it, the nerfs he got.
Okay. So you're talking about embedded assumptions, but you obviously don't see the embedded assumption that you're making. So I'm gonna just, keep it simple to you and just reiterate the argument because I genuinely don't think you understand. My argument is that these two Yamamotos are not the same. The stronger one should be the younger one. My evidence to that is that one, he has two arms, so that means he doesn't have to just use Shikai or Bankai because that's the only shit that we see him use in his last form. He doesn't just have to use that. He's not subjugated to do that because he has other techniques and other things which you granted that is a physical amplification to his certain techniques. We see him do all these things when he's younger. We see him have two arms, and I've already gave you the proof earlier why someone having both their arms is a drastic strength increase. You agreed to that argument. So that's already what we have right there. So you agree that it's a drastic strength increase. You agree that he can use these techniques, which also amplifies strength and also helps with technique. So the only thing that you have is, well, this training that. I'm questioning the training itself. I'm questioning the reason behind this training. Could you show me the training that he did for you to suffice that it defeats the other three things that you said? And you're saying that you were disagreeing with my scans. Buddy. There's a lot of different times that you agreed with my notation that I was going with here. When I was talking about, you didn't show that he was weak. You showed that he got wrinkles and stuff like that. What do you think wrinkles and someone looking physically less, dense than what they once were is an indication of? It's an indication of growth. And that's an indication of the aging where you're aging towards your seniors, not the aging of from a teenage to a adult man, which he was at that time an adult man, what we were talking about earlier. It just doesn't make sense. Your argument has to make sense. Why does it make sense for someone to age? And we see these physical changes, why does it make sense for him to be at the same or even remotely the same AP as he was when he was in his younger self, where he looked more denser and when he had two arms? He has too much hindrances for this argument to even go through or for it even to make sense. That's what I'm telling you. So your argument can go through and make sense if you just provide some type of substantiation. You're talking about burden. I didn't ask about a burden. I asked for substantiation behind an interpretation. I've been doing this whole time. Giving backing evidence behind what I'm talking about. I've been giving everything else behind what I'm talking about, and you're not doing nothing else
If
but
you're just
just
going to say
sitting
you've
back
been giving
here.
evidence, can I just speak then? Can I just respond?
I'm not done.
But you're just saying you've been giving evidence.
I'm not done. I didn't interrupt you.
Oh yeah, my bad, buddy. Go ahead.
Okay. And again, I just want to touch on one thing again. You do, and you are making the embedded assumption by you even bringing up this possibility in the first place, because you wouldn't bring it up if you don't think it defeats the other authoritative, interpretation. So then it by itself, that's assumption. So the assumption would be that you're saying that this training is even in the realm where it can do that. So I'm asking you, what is the name of the training? Because there's other training within the verse that we could compare it to. There's other training in the verse that we does to you. The second thing is, How long is he doing this? Where is he doing this? Can you show me the instances of him doing? Can we see what he's going through? That's what I'm trying to say. You cannot compare the two when we have indications of what exactly it does to you. So based off the fact that this, even though I may have one, the fact that you have zero completely defeats your argument. I at least have something. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I at least have something. We at least know the effects. Yours is it possibly can be, which is a possibility claim, which finally requires evidence for it to be accepted within a debate. So can we just
Okay.
please move on from this point? I'm showing you
Okay.
levels right now.
No,
And can you
we're not
please
moving
move
on. I gotta
on? I'm
respond.
showing you levels.
No, we're not moving on, bro. I gotta
There's
respond.
levels to
Look,
this shit, bro.
wrinkles. Wait, you asked me a question and I said a bunch of other shit. You said, what do wrinkles mean?
There's levels
On
to
a
this shit.
normal human, it means they're getting weaker. Okay, this is Shini fucking Gami made of stuff different from normal humans, and I don't know what it means for them. Okay, and then you said show. Are you asking me to show that Yamamoto trained in the first place?
Do you not understand like the questioning behind the argument?
Just answer.
I'm questioning that entire just idea in general.
Okay, so you're questioning whether he
I'm
trained
questioning.
and whether the training was sufficient, right?
Yeah, based off how you're presenting it. Yeah, based off
Okay,
the way you presented the argument, I'm questioning it.
I'll find the scan saying that all the captains trained. But for now, I'll just respond to everything else that you said. Now,
That scan's
wait,
just
hold
not
on,
true. We know that
hold on.
Shinsui. Hold on, wait a minute. I'm not done real quick. We know that Shinsui
No,
said that
wait,
he
what the
didn't
hell? Wait,
train. So that
I
statement,
was speaking.
that's a
I was
Yo,
fundamental.
bro,
That's a
yo, wait,
fundamental
hold
I was
on,
speaking,
contradiction.
bro.
bro.
Deadboy,
Don't put a,
Deadboy. It was his
put a
turn to
muzzle on the
speak. You
dog.
can't really
My
leave
bad,
Put a
my
people.
bad,
muzzle on the
my
dog.
bad, my bad, my bad.
My
Bro.
bad, my bad. Okay. Basically, when I'm asserting this possibility, I'm asserting this thing to be possible, right? I'm not always saying that this thing is more probable than what you're saying. Okay, I could just
Okay.
be saying that it's equally probable, and you giving
Why?
scans that don't support what you're saying. That's just shit evidence. Okay, it doesn't actually build probability. But I'm gonna just send the scan. Hold on.
It's probable when you said that when you fall back on the claim on the sense that you don't have to give a substantiation. That doesn't make sense.
If we both have
You
no
know that, right?
substantiation, it's equally probable.
No, but I'm giving substantiation. There's certain
You
facts
think that?
within there's certain facts within my reasoning that you agree to already. You know that, right?
You think
The
that
based off the
man?
fact that I got you to agree to things, that's you supporting my reasoning. You know that, right? So I'm asking you, you can't just say something's equal probable when you just said it's possible. Let's just do a debate rundown again. Possible, probable, and certainty are three different things. Possibility is the lowest, probability is higher, and certainty is the best. So are you arguing for probability? If that's the case, you're required to give probable evidence to your stance that you're taking. But you like to fall back, oh, it's a possible. So just, oh, yeah, it just could be the case. So what are you doing here? It seems like you're confuzzled. I'm telling you that it's most likely the case based off the facts that you agreed to and based off the other things that I presented within this debate. You're just telling me it's possible. So what do you think the judge, what do you think the people in the chat are going to say are winning? Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think? Just tell me genuinely, like with a straight face, who do you think are going to say is winning? It's not going to be you.
So
I bet you
I think the
$500
smart
right
ones.
now. Not a damn.
I think
So
the
say
smart
that.
ones. But can I speak? Okay, so
I give you
no,
permission.
I don't have to just be saying it's possible, not be saying it's probable or certain. I can say something's possible while it being probable as well. I'm saying that my possibility has equal probability to
How?
what you're saying. Okay, because
So
we
what?
both have no substantiation.
So
And
what you
now,
just did is just repeat
Oshi,
your.
wait,
What you
hold on. Before you even say anything else, Oshi, can you send a scan of all the captains training for like Thousand Year Blood War?
So before you do that,
Wait,
did
I
is
just want to send a scan. I just want to send a scan.
you can send a scan, but I want to respond to something you just said.
No,
So
you just
what you
respond
just
after.
hold
I'm not
on,
saying you can't respond.
bro,
Just respond after.
just chill.
Just
But you just made a
respond.
point,
Bro,
bro. Let
just
me
respond
respond to
after.
that. So, but let me just say what I have to say.
No,
So
I want
what
to
you did
scan
was a
first, bro. Just
copy.
respond
What
after.
you just said was a copy and paste argument. You
Just
directly said
respond.
the
Just
same
respond
thing.
after,
You
bro.
just said direct. You
What?
directly said the
Wait,
same thing
Deadboy,
5 minutes ago.
Look, Look, in Flames' defense, when you were getting the scans run by Mike Top and I said we shouldn't add it to the time, you did say like before you respond, let me get the scans. So like to be fair,
All right, bet.
yeah,
All right, so
yeah.
hey, I was only saying that because I'm about to go upstairs to get my food real quick. I might be back downstairs in like 5 minutes,
Okay.
like 3 minutes.
Alright,
Oshi, can you send a scan?
Yo, wait, that boy, what you eating, bro?
I don't know yet.
Don't
I'll
beg
let
it, bro.
you know.
Don't beg it. He don't like you, bro. Stop that shit.
Oshi, can you send a scan, bro? Can you send a scan? Look, all the captain's training. I will search for it maybe.
Yo, when that boy comes back, bro, how much y'all want to bet it's gonna be fried chicken, bro?
Shut up, nigga.
Yo, calm down.
Flames. I literally sent it in a scans channel, dude.
Oh, okay, bet. Yeah,
Flames,
okay.
are
After
the
the
amps
yes.
sending you in DMs working?
You didn't ant me, bro.
Flames,
Okay,
use the answer I sent you, bro.
this guy's trolling.
No, he is amping you.
624. That's a chapter. 624.
I don't need their M's.
219 is where the scans at, bro.
Bro, truth. Watch your mouth about Poochie, bro. Real shit.
Shut up, Aston.
If I could server mute, you server deafen you, and remove you from the V.
This guy said sharp to the judge of his debate. And the
Oh,
actual judge.
my bad,
Yeah,
bro. My
see,
bad.
what'd you say to me, Flames?
My bad, bro. My bad. Hopefully, this doesn't count towards like the 45 minutes.
Yeah, it does.
Flames, let me tell you something, Flames.
Ooh,
Stop looking at
bye.
the chat, bro. Ignore Poochie.
I'm looking at a scan server.
Yeah, ignore the chat. Be confident, bro. Don't let this
It's
nigga
just
do
Haram and
gaslight you,
Poochie,
okay?
bro. It's just Haram and Poochie.
Flames,
That's
It's
fine.
an equal interpretation,
do
bro.
your
Trust
best.
me. It's
Do your
equal.
best, Flames.
It's equal. Explain that he can train. You feel me? You can get better, bro. Don't let him gaslight you, bro.
No. Don't listen to C. C's trying to
Already
lead you
did.
down a
Don't let
evil,
him
malicious path.
gaslight you, bro.
That's a fact.
Yo,
Look, he
she's
said
about to
you.
make me
No,
lose.
he said to you. Do you think anyone will say that you're winning right now? Fuck the people. Only person you care about here is Sakazuki, Azten, and the other random guy you have judging, bro. That's all you care about right now, bro. Trust me. Don't fuck the people. Fuck Azten.
Hey.
I mean, not fuck Azten. Fuck what's his
Wow.
name?
Yeah, Flames, I got your back,
man. Yeah, fuck Oshi. Dumb nigga Oshi. Fuck real Sasuke. Fuck Poochie. All them niggas. I mean, I love Poochie, but like for the
That's
debate, fuck
quite the hill
Poochie.
to die on, by the
Yo,
way.
my mom made
What
me
did I
ramen.
do?
That's quite a
Oh,
audacious.
sucker, my mom made me Maggie.
What?
Bro, shut the fuck up, bro.
Nigga got some Indian shit, bro. Hold on, what is Maggie? Maggie,
Indian noodles, bro.
Indian meal.
Oh, you were right on the money.
Oh shit, Maggie India.
The mental nerve. Oh yeah, I agree. He got weaker. Like he got like a nerf to some extent. That's fine.
Who
Why
got
did he
weak?
look like that?
Bro, Flames, stop leaking the ant.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'll just respond to
Bad,
the
bro.
mental nerf when he comes back.
This
Okay,
food's
Saka,
gonna make him
when
worse.
you're on
He's
court,
gonna make
okay, the
debuff.
notifications pop up at the top. I saw him say mental nerf, and I fucking
Bro,
remembered.
Flames, you're just digging a deeper hole, you retard.
Flames.
Yeah.
Flames, bro. Trust me. You better shut the fuck
Okay,
up,
okay,
bro.
kick me out of the
Pull
GC.
out,
Kick me
pull
out of
out
the
a
GC.
notepad.
Kick me out of the GC.
Pull out a notepad.
Kick
Pull
me
out a
out of
notepad.
the
Shut
GC.
up, bro. Just
Pull out,
keep
pull
your
out a
mouth shut,
notepad.
bro.
Pull
The
out a notepad,
GC?
bro. Use a
Is
notepad and
Flames
write
being
down the
Add
shit
amped?
me
that you
when the
said.
debate's over. Add me back when the debate's over. I like.
Wait, hold on. One second, bro. Deadboy, what did you get to eat, bro?
Ravioli. Oh, my people's doing ravioli.
Rough. Yeah, this was wrong. Okay, but
This is
Well,
a
he
this
said it
guy,
was
racist,
gonna
bro.
be fried chicken because he's racist.
he tried to sneak
No,
something in, bro.
no,
Okay.
that
He
boy
was
likes
Italian, at
fried
least he
chicken,
doesn't
but he
tell
told me
Okay,
that.
Deadboy, I agree that Yamamoto's mentality has gotten weaker since his mentality has gotten worse since his younger days. That's fine. I agree he's gotten all these nerfs and stuff, but again, he got an amp, which is unquantifiable, and so with the nerfs.
We're amp.
It's like I'm just gonna say the same argument. And also, by the way, Oshi sent the scan of the Shinigami training. After the battle with Aizen ended, the Soul Reapers trained hard for 17 months.
We just know the statement isn't true because Sensui disagrees. Sensui doesn't train. Can you send the scan Kiyoshi of Sensui saying he didn't train? So I just think the statement in itself, the validity of the statement is up in question because it's a directly contradictory statement.
I'll see if I can find that scam.
JTBC, show that. JTBC, show that, please. Who's getting flayed? Wait, why'd I vote for myself? Oh my god.
JTBC stands for, just to be clear, by the way, BTW.
Oh, okay. I'll keep that.
DNFB.
Shut the fuck up, Lane.
You got that scan, Kiyoshi?
Doesn't exist. It states that he hasn't talked to his Zanpakuto in a while, though. That doesn't mean that he got weaker physically. But, like, no, we're not gonna talk about that.
I was gonna say something, but yeah, I'll go.
Ah.
All right. Let me know if you sent.
Oh, the scan?
Yeah.
Yo, I misclicked, bro. I didn't mean to
I don't
vote for
think the
myself.
scan, because technically the scan doesn't verbatim say he doesn't train. It just says he doesn't talk to his own. But I have that scan though.
Bro, I just want to
You
eat my
just sent it.
noodles. I just want to eat my noodles, man. I just want to eat my noodles.
You mean this?
It's like, bro, is this Zenny? Is self-load Zenny?
Yeah. So that just tells me that Sun Tzu is one of those captains. Unless you try to appropriate that he's, I'm asking, how did they all train? Like, are you saying that they all train hard in separate ways? Did they all train, like, did they just train one specific thing? Like, it just doesn't make sense for somebody training for 17 months and they not train at all their Shikai or Bankai, which, they do have to call it out. So that's why he says I haven't talked to you in a long time, because he hasn't probably, trained the Zanpakuto at all. So that just, hold on. And again, what I just have here is just basic reasoning. You're saying they trained hard. It wouldn't make sense to one of their main applications that they use, which would be the Shikai and Bankai, for them not to train that either. But we have direct statements right here of us indicating that he is probably training with his Zanpakuto. So what do you like? Again, I'm just putting the validity of this statement into question.
Okay, so
And
this argument
again,
is just...
and wait, hold on. And again, thank you for giving me the quantification. There's no way can somehow quantify that in 17 months he is above his prime self, which does not have all the hindrances that I named. There's no way. There's no way that you can. There's no way that you can even give me a reason why. It's such.
I mean, I think I've already explained why I don't have to, but I'm gonna just address the Shunsui scan. Right?
But
You asked.
you should have
You
to,
wait,
because
wait,
you're
wait.
trying to raise the probability of it,
Bro,
right?
calm down, bro. Calm down. I'm not gonna address what you just said there because you cut me off. But look, so you said why they train? Like, did they? Are you just saying? Like, you can answer this, by the way. Are you just saying, like, did they train their Shikai, Bankai, or just their physicals, like stuff like that?
Bro, Angle Life Flames, I'm just being honest with you, just straight point blank player, you can't fuck with me, bro. Let's
Okay.
maybe just get
Can
judgment.
you
You're
answer the
wasting my
question
time.
though, bro? Answer the question though.
You can't fuck with me, bro. You're not my level, bro.
If you're gonna ask how they trained, I'm gonna say that I'm assuming that they trained their physicals, because like their fighting capabilities, because that's the whole. Like, what else would they be training? Their Soul Reapers. Their whole job is based in combat. Okay, and then you're saying that why Shunsui didn't train his Bankai. Look, Shunsui, I think he's one of the only. I think he is the only exception, actually, because or like Shunsui is the only exception because Shunsui's Bankai is not allowed to be used, so he can't train his Bankai. That doesn't mean Shunsui didn't
Hey,
train his Shikai or his normal
can
physical
you read the
stuff.
claim that you made?
Which one?
Where you said what else would they be training? You said that they would train their physicals. Can you prove that?
Already did.
Why they wouldn't be training for their Shikai and their Bankai?
I already did. I just did that.
That just doesn't.
I did a sentence
That
after.
just doesn't make sense. You said so. So what you tried to do was a rhetorical strategy to diminish the other possibilities of what else they're training by saying, "Oh, what else could they train?" That's a tier one, not tier one, tier 6 rhetorical strategy or device, but it just doesn't work here because there's certain variables that we know that their main power is in Bleach is their Zanpakuto. And you just tried to exclude this within your argument because you know that it would make it fumble. So if they're training hard, why does it not make sense for them to train something that makes them to their peak versions of themselves? Like Bankai Yamamoto is the strongest version of Yamamoto we've seen. Bankai Kapachi is the strongest version that we've seen. Adult Bankai Toshiro is the strongest version that we've seen. So why, if they have obviously these peaks, why would they not advance these peaks? These peaks give them at least 10 to 20 times amplification of the strength. And you mean to tell me they're only just going to train? That just doesn't make sense. And we obviously like that makes sense because we obviously see people do new things with their Bankai that we haven't seen them do before, like Byakuya. So obviously we know that he trained on his Bankai. So it just doesn't make sense.
Okay, so you just didn't really listen to what I said. I said they train in combat. I never said they didn't train their Zanpakuto. I agree they can train their Shikai, their physicals. I agree that everyone there trained their Bankai except Shunsui, and I gave the reason for Shunsui. Shunsui isn't allowed to use his Bankai in the Soul Society because it affects allies. So it's most likely he's not even going to use it in the first place. There's no reason to train for it at all. But for the other people, they're allowed to use their Bankai.
Can you give me the statement where it's for specifically Soul Society? Because I think it's just where people are around.
Okay, that still helps my point. So Shunsui, won't be
So
able to use his
do
Bankai because typically when people when
you not
people
think he
fight,
can be by himself?
uh,
Do you not think
it's
there's do you not think
unusual
there's like
for
a
him to
pop?
be by himself. Every time it's unusual
Keep
for him
hold
to
on.
be by himself.
Do you not think there's
Most
some
of the time,
in that
Deadboy, I can
17?
show you
Hold
like
on.
a 10. Deadboy, I can show you like 10 examples in the Soul Society where when like a Soul Reaper's around, they're never like alone completely. They're with like a
Because
group.
they're probably at work or they're at work, but we
No,
obviously know
even
there's
at
certain
work,
times where they're not at work.
they're in a group. Even at work,
But
they're in a group.
saying, but hold on. I'm throughout them 17 months. You do not think that Shunsui has any time by himself? Like is he always spending every second of the day with somebody else? That's what you're trying to say?
I agree that I'm saying that's a consistency.
Based off of what though? Give me a consistency that supports the 17 month straight thing though,
Okay,
because you're gonna show me
In
a
the Soul
consistency
Society,
from
okay,
certain
I got
arcs.
you. I got you.
I'm asking you for
I
off
got
of a
you.
17-month basis,
In
straight,
the
17 months
okay,
straight.
cool,
That
cool.
every second for 17 months straight that he's gonna be by
What?
himself.
Okay, I'm gonna increase the probability by saying, like, for example, let's start with the first arc, the Soul Society. Okay, where we actually do the Soul Reapers. What's the name? Kenpachi. We see Ikaku in like a big ass group. We see him with Yumi Chika. Then we see Squad. What's it called Squad 12. They're in a group as well. They're with
Do you
Mayuri.
know why? Do you know why they're in
And
a
we see.
group? Do you know the
Wait,
context behind that
hold on.
situation?
Unohana. We
There's
see them with their
context behind that
assistants.
situation.
Wait, hold on. We also see that it's uncommon for captains to be without their assistants. Okay, and then we go to the next arc, the Arankar arc.
Then that's
Most people in Soul Society are together fighting in fake Karakura Town. The other
Then
ones
that's
in what's called Hueco Mundo are Kenpachi and Byakuya. They're together.
okay.
Okay, so we can go to the last arc.
So in every condition you named,
And
it
in
was
the last arc,
specifically outside.
in the
So
last
bro,
arc, they send like a bunch of Soul
bro,
Reapers like to the same place in
listen.
Karakura Town. They're right next to each other.
I ain't gonna lie. So what you did is specifically outside the parameters that I set. I said within the 17-month period straight of training, you gave examples of where they would need it to all be by each other. You gave the example with Rukia where they were gonna execute Rukia. You gave the fucking hollow in the shit in the hollow in the Soul Reaper War. You gave all these examples where they were needed to be by each other. I'm asking for the parameters for a 17-month straight period where there's not something catastrophic that's obviously going on, which would require them all to beat each other. What basis or evidence do you have to support what you're talking about? Within those specific parameters. That's what I asked you to do. You couldn't do it. You started bringing up things that are disanalogous. Just move on, bro. You're getting bodied, bro. This is a waste of my time. You really disappointed me.
I'm going.
You're disappointed in me right now.
Bro. I'm going. Keep going.
You're a